Fargard 14 might be called the water dog. This Fargard is nothing more than an appendix to the last clauses of the preceding Fargard, 50 in sequence. Well, that might be overstating that, but how the murder of a water dog may be atoned for is described in it at full length, as the water dog is the holiest of dogs, and, as it were, a link between the dog and God. The process of atonement must be one of extraordinary character. It is this chapter, more than any other, which may make it doubtful whether the legislation of the Vendidad has ever existed as real and living law. Well, perhaps they would have implemented it on the poor. 50 tana fuhars is 15,000 istirs, which is 60,000 dirhams. And if he can't afford it, he'll atone in the matter stated in the Vesta. If he cannot afford it, it'll be sufficient to perform a complete izasne, sacrifice. And it's forbidden to take any ill-smelling thing to the fire and to kindle it on it. It is forbidden to kindle green wood. Even though the wood were hard and dry, one must examine it 3 times, lest there may be any hair or unclean matter upon it. Although the pious Arda Vivraf had always taken utmost care never to put on the fire any wood but such as was 7 years old, yet, when he entered paradise, Atar, the genius of fire, a spirit of fire, showed him reproachfully a large tank full of the water which that wood had exuded. 1. Zarathustra asked Ahura Mazda, O Ahura Mazda, most beneficent spirit, maker of the material world, thou holy one, he who smites one of those water dogs that are born one from 1,000 dogs and 1,000 she-dogs, so that he gives up the ghost and the soul parts from the body. What is the penalty that he shall pay? 4. Ahura Mazda answered, he shall pay 10,000 stripes with the Aspahe Astra, 10,000 stripes with the Srasho Corona. He shall godly and piously bring, under the fire of Ahura Mazda, 10,000 loads of hard, well-dried, well-examined wood, as an atonement under the soul, because of what happened to the water dog. It's not that they're worshiping the water dog. The parentheses can kind of cause confusion. And there's a lot of this. Sometimes the passages that say, make mention of those, people end up Nama worshiping them, when that's not entirely what Nama is. Or, similar words like that. 6. He shall godly and piously bring under the fire of Ahura Mazda 10,000 loads of softwood, of Urvasna, Vahu Gaana, Vahu Karete, Hava na Epata, or any sweet-smelling plant, as an atonement under the soul. It's your own soul that you're atoning. But for the individual. Now the na-epata is possibly milk. And you see in the Vedic practice that as much as there was opium sap involved in certain things, there was definitely the diluting of the mixtures in milk at times. 7. He shall godly and piously tie and consecrate 10,000 bundles of beresma. He shall offer up to the good waters 10,000 za'athra libations with the ha'oma and the sacred meat, cleanly prepared and well strained, by a pious man as an atonement unto the soul. And the pious man, the Mobit called Sardar, chief, prepares, cleanses, and disposes of everything for the performance of the yasna. And 9. He shall kill 10,000 snakes of those that go upon the belly. He shall kill 10,000 snakes of those that have the shape of a dog. He shall kill 10,000 tortoises. He shall kill 10,000 land frogs. He shall kill 10,000 water frogs. He shall kill 10,000 corn-carrying ants. He shall kill 10,000 ants of those that bite and dig holes and work mischief. Well, okay, if the animals are working mischief, but going about the land killing the animals that one doesn't like is one of the things that the Muslim rulers were told to put a stop to. So, people talk about the persecution, trying to make certain animals extinct that were necessary for the habitat. But, so, dog-like, because they sit on their hind parts. The cat seems to be intended by this name. A paraphrase of this passage in the Parsi Ravat, the cat numbered among the krafstas, which it is enjoined to kill, Tordi Baset. And those that can go out of the water and live on dry land are the land frogs. Okay. 16. He shall kill 10,000 earthworms. He shall kill 10,000 horrid flies. He shall fill up 10,000 holes for the unclean. He shall godly and piously give to godly men twice 7 sets of implements for the fire as an atonement unto the soul. Perhaps it's for the soul, for the individual. Might be better, more understandable way. Namely, okay. Ferdusi protested against the prescription. Do no harm to the grain-carrying ant. A living thing it is, and its life is dear to it. The celebrated high priest of the Parsis, the late Mullah Firouz, entered those lines into his Pand Nama, which may be token better days for this wise and careful creature. And the horrid flies are the corpse flies, and the holes which are unclean are washed. Are we talking about the water, or are we talking about urine? Purified bull urine or whatever. But 20. 2 loads of the proper materials for the fire. A broom, a pair of tongs, a pair of round bellows, extended at the bottom, contracted at the top, and adds with a sharp edge, and a sharp pointed handle. A saw with sharp teeth, and a sharp pointed handle, by means of which the worshippers of Mazda procure wood for the fire of Ahura Mazda. And some might doubt that 2 loads of wood and the 2 loads of incense upon the wood are what's being said here. And they cleanse the Atash Dan, or fire vessel. And the bellows might be a fan. It might not, maybe the word says both. And the sharp-pointed handle, asp, sharp-kneaded. Oh, it's interesting that that's one of the Enochian author names. Author 21, right? 26. He shall godly and piously give to godly men a set of the priestly instruments of which the priests make use as an atonement out of the soul, namely the astra, the meat vessel, the pa itidana, the krathstragna, the sra asho karana, the cup for the miazda, the cups for the juice, the mortar made according to the rules, the ha'ama cups, and the barisma. Remember, ha'ama is like soma. Perhaps it's a word for conscious altering or something. But it has the root, home, which means ephedra. And they would primarily mix marijuana, ephedra juice, and opium sap. And then they put in 37 other plants according to one description. And some of these plants, increase the drug effect or whatever. If this is prescribable in any country, well, that's up to them and their medical thing, doctors what to decide in that regards. Have to put disclaimers like that nowadays, I guess. Astra, Astra for short. And then it may not be a meat vessel, but a milk vessel. And everything that goes out of a man is unclean. His breath defiles all that he touches. Well, that's a later thing to that. Breath used to be fine. Priests, therefore, while on duty, even laymen, while praying or eating, must wear a mouth veil. The pa itedana, in Parsi it's called the panom, consisting of 2 pieces of white cotton cloth, hanging loosely from the bridge of the nose to at least 2 inches below the mouth, and tied with 2 strings at the back of the head. This principle appears not to have been particular to the Zoroastrian Aryans, for the Slavonian priest at Arcana were enjoined to go out of the temple whenever he wanted to draw breath. And in the Jains, it becomes an ideal to cover the face, lest the presence of whatever they were considering to be a god should be defiled by contact with mortal breath. Well, this is going to happen. Logic would, just put your hand on your on the mask or something. And again, like I'm not talking about current regulations or anything like that. I'm talking about certain ethics. That's why, like in Shia Islam, that a guy they relate a story of how a guy was approached. It's like, why are you wearing a mask all the time? There wasn't any plagues breaking out or something or whatnot. He was just, so it was causing doubt by night and disgrace by day for him to go around doing that. But, if there's medical reasons or something. And the Agna, I guess, means killer. And, I guess there's instruments that people would come up with for snake killing. And the cup in which the juice of the home and the urvaron, the urvaron is the twigs of the hava na epata, which are pounded together with the home. It is received from the mortar. And the cup on which the twigs of the ha'ama are laid before being pounded, so-called tashta. Some say the home strainer, a saucer with 9 holes. 32. He shall godly and piously give to godly men a set of all the war implements of which the warriors make use, as an atonement out of the soul, the first being a javelin, the second a knife, the third a club, the fourth a bow, the fifth a quiver, with shoulder belt and 30 brass-headed arrows, the sixth a sling with arm string and with 30 sling stones, the seventh a cuirass, the eighth a hauberk, the ninth a tunic, the 10th a helmet, the 11th a girdle, the 12th a pair of greaves. And so the I guess we have the for javelin we have ichmas de brachias icon. For knife we have eg chair idea paraton dexion mahran para ioriumena ek tas zonhas. For a bow we have taxa de magala. For a quiver we have doubt which Greek word to use or phrase. The shoulder belt and 30 brass-headed arrows. Oi stus de calaminus. The cuiras. Lepidas. Seed har es. Opsin. Ik. The o I de us, the hauberk, going from the helm to the cuirass or kiros. I'm not sure exactly how to say that, but under the kiros, and we have, the mention of the tunic. Peri de to soma Keith onnas kair idotus poi kilius. The griabs we have perideta scalia anach uridas, and 41, he shall godly and piously give to godly men a set of all the implements which the husbandmen make use of as an atonement out of the soul of the water dog, namely a plow with a share and yoke, an ox whip, a mortar of stone, a hand mill for grinding grain. So something, I guess all that's listed as doubtful, so we can leave that. Sorry for squeakings of the chairs and stuff when or whatever. Well, these crates here probably need more sound. 48. A spade for digging and tilling, 1 measure of silver, 1 measure of gold. O maker of the material world, thou holy one, how much silver? Ahura answered, the price of a stallion. O maker of the material world, thou holy one, how much gold? Ahura answered, the price of a camel. 54. He shall godly and piously procure a rill of running water for godly husbandmen, as an atonement unto the soul, the water dog. O maker of the material world, thou holy one, how large is the rill? Ahura answered, depth of a dog and the breadth of a dog. So, about a foot by a foot, well, different sized dogs. But 57. He shall godly and piously give a piece of arable land to godly men as an atonement unto the soul. O Maker of the material world, thou Holy One, how large is the piece of land? Ahura Mazda answered, as much as can be watered with such a rill on both sides. 60. He shall godly and piously procure for godly men a house with ox stalls, with 9 hapras and 9 nematas, as an atonement unto the soul. And, he shall build a caravansary, which is considered a pious work. O Maker of the material world, thou Holy One, how large is the house? Ahura Mazda answered, 12 vitaras. And it might mean a passage. They might mean that many passages or alleys, or it could be some measure of some sort. In the largest part of the house, 9 vitaras in the middle part, 6 vitaras in the smallest part. He shall godly and piously give to godly men godly beds and cushions as an atonement unto the soul. 64. He shall godly and piously give to a godly man a virgin maid whom no man has known as an atonement unto the soul. O Maker of the material world, thou Holy One, what maid? Ahura Mazda answered, a sister or a daughter of his, at the age of puberty, with earrings in her ears, and past her 15th year, which, by the way, in Persian mythology is usually considered the age of perfection. I guess a couple years in, when people are guaranteed to look like they've, well, the females at least, the males take longer to get their more recognizable as adult appearance, but maybe a couple years in, that's why that's the ideal. And fertility would be better at that point. So past the 15th year, I mean 15 years old or older. 67, which can be married in 14 states in my country, so, I think that's what they said. If all those shows on TV that I don't watch, but you hear whatever. But 67. Well, you see stories about like these communes and all this other stuff. So what's legal? But anyway, 67. He shall godly and piously give to holy men twice 7 head of small cattle as an atonement unto the soul. He shall bring up twice 7 whelps. He shall throw twice 7 bridges over canals. 70. He shall put into repair twice 9 stables that are out of repair. He shall cleanse twice 9 dogs from skin humors, hair wax, vermin, and all the diseases that are produced on the body of a dog. He shall treat twice 9 godly men to their fill of meat, bread, strong drink, and wine. 73. This is the atonement, that is the penalty that he shall undergo to atone for the deed that he has done. If he shall undergo it, he shall enter the world of the holy ones. If he shall not undergo it, he shall fall down into the world of the wicked, into that dark world made of darkness, the offspring of darkness. And it's clear that perhaps some of these things, there was a king that could order it, and this was acts of the king, maybe under the Achaemenids or something. On the other hand, perhaps we can say that a lot of these things that have builded on in many of these conservative traditions were to empower the statecraft and the priestcraft and the propagandists that work for them. Because it seems, yes, you want to deter. I mean, you can't implement these things. Some of these things you can't really implement. But perhaps it's out there as an option because sometimes they could. But either way, it seems to be less about people. I mean, it goes beyond the issue of atoning, making people feel the effects and make the effort, not just saying I repent, but making some effort to make up for it. Yeah, it seems to be about empowering the professionals.